At the beginning of this year, when I first began my media product, I only had basic knowledge of some of the technologies that I'd be using to construct my product, and throughout the process I've learnt many new skills. Firstly, when researching, the internet was an important tool. I began by using YouTube as I was already familiar to this website. I looked at previous opening sequences for inspiration. I then found a website called artofthetitle.com. This allowed me to look at hundreds of different title sequences and see which styles were most successful. Also in lessons we looked at the extras on the DVD, Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels. This went into more detail as to why they placed the titles in certain places and how much they chose to reveal in their opening sequence. I found this really useful as it was something I could directly link to my opening sequence and help me for ideas. In the planning stages of our filming, me and my group used basic equipment that we was already familiar to. When filming our preliminary task and taking photo locations, we used an iPhone. This wasn't a bad source of technology, however, it wasn't up to the standard of quality that we wanted. Another problem with using an iPhone that we found was that unless the iPhone was horizontal, then when we were transferring the footage onto the computer, there would be a black box around it. Therefore, due to these problems, we knew when making our actual opening sequence, we would use a better camera quality. The construction of the opening sequence was definitely where I learnt the most about new technologies. I was new to filming and therefore had no previous knowledge. Firstly, I began with using a new camera. This was a Nikon. As I was starring in the opening sequence, I didn't use the camera a lot. However, I still learnt about technologies such as the focusing of the camera and how to zoom in and out. As I was the editor, software I learnt a lot about was Final Cut Pro. I'd never used this before and therefore there was a lot to learn. I learnt about how to make it slow motion, colour grading, titles, transitions and the music. For the editing, I also used a website called The Sound of the Bible, which allowed me to find non-diegetic sound effects that I could enhance what was happening on the screen. This is a technique called Foley that I really believe enhanced what was happening in the scene and helped the tension to build up. Finally, for the evaluation, I used technologies such as YouTube, where I uploaded a video of my member of target audience answering questions about my opening sequence, and this video. Also, I used Excel, where I created a bar chart to present the data about my audience's favourite genre.